Hi there, Stampers. Today we're going to make a card made with the Stampin' Up Autumn Harvest stamp set, and we're going to be doing some watercoloring, which this is one of my favorite techniques. This was a swap card I made 2 years ago for Founders Circle, and I have had more people email me and contact me on how to create this dimensional watercolored look, and I'm happy to share it with you today. This is the Autumn Harvest stamp set. We're going to start with some ivory confetti cardstock. Okay, next we're going to use StazOn ink. We are going to stamp our pumpkins. I'm going to start with the big pumpkin. Ink him up, and I'm going to stamp him. I'm going to stamp on the right hand side of the card. And then I'm going to stamp it again on a piece of scrap paper. I'm going to stamp one of our pumpkins right onto the scrap paper. Once you've stamped the little pumpkin, then you can cut it out. We're going to need this as a mask. It doesn't have to be a perfect cut here. And this will be our mask. Then I'm going to take the small pumpkin and I'm going to stamp it. I'm going to stamp it to the side. And it's alright that it overlaps the big pumpkin on this card, simply because I'm going to be covering this pumpkin with this one. But I don't want this pumpkin, the little pumpkins, to overlap each other, so I'm going to use the mask for them. And that way it looks like one pumpkin is in front of the other. And last, I'm going to take 2 leaves and stamp them on the scrap paper. I've got a little container here of ink pad refill. This side is pumpkin pie and this side is Old Olive Classic inks. I'm going to use the Stampin' Up Aqua Painter. I love these. There's water in this side. I can control the flow. I want it to be really wet here, so I'm going to squeeze and just test my brush on the scrap paper. And then I'm going to start with the pumpkin pie. And I'll start over here with our big pumpkin. I'm going to start on the outside of him, working all the way around in a circle. I want the outer edge to be dark, and I want the inner edge inside of the pumpkin to get lighter and lighter. But in order to give it that really good depth, I want this to be very, very dark. So I'm going to go around that outer edge a couple of times to get a really deep color. And then I'm just going to wipe some of that off so I can get really light in the center. And I'm going to do that same technique around all of the pumpkins, getting really, really dark around the edges to give it that depth and leaving white space in the middle. And I'm watercoloring. It's okay to go outside the edge a little bit, give it a little bit more depth by doing that. And then I'm going to use the rest of this for the tips of my leaves, which again, I want this to be fairly wet when I'm working with it because I want them to blend. And then I'm going to wipe off the orange and bring on the green. And that will blend together on the leaves. And get our stems. And I am going to do the stem of this pumpkin because I'm not going to cut, I'm going to cut that pumpkin stem off. Now next, for our grass, I want my brush to be really, really wet. I'm going to first wash the whole bottom of the card. And then I'll take the green, and you see how it's just bleeding right out here. That's the look I'm going for. I want it to be really dark under the pumpkins, and then the shadow will gradually get less as it goes down. And that will give it its depth. It really makes it pop. Next, we're going to cut out the leaves and the pumpkin. And through the magic of television, we're done cutting that fast. We're going to take some of Stampin' Up's Stampin' Demented foam pop dots and just put them on the back of the pumpkin. And this is going to pop him right up off the page. And we'll do the same with these 2 leaves. And once we've stamped our greeting and mounted this on pumpkin pie and old olive cardstock, voila, we have our finished card.